What's up, everybody? It's George Truly K. But I came here today to share this video about public policy. Public policy is not law, by the way. It's for the public and their policies, which can change at any moment. So basically, this video about public policy will be breaking down certain factors. It's a small presentation, but we must understand how legal policy making provides a range of explanations of legal policy making in a real world. EBPM stands for evidence-based policy making. Carney 20/6A, and this only relies on expertise and evidence to pursue good policy that will have good results, to encourage a good policy being processed for the participation as many as possible to ensure that America will have a good policy on a wide scale for citizens and not just for those in a small power. So that being said, it is four different types of evidence, four different types of evidence-based examples is what I'm going to give y'all. 1. Research evidence, meaning before they start any policy, they must research the evidence based upon having a good outcome to creating a policy. So, prime example, like a policy for those to have hunting license. It's a policy for those to have commercial driver's license, like driving trucks. There's certain policies that they got to follow. So therefore, policy making is for like businesses, management centers, and stuff like that. Every business have some type of policy, but it's not law, like I said once again. So number 2 is have a public opinion. That's why you see people hold up big signs, "Hey, vote for me," to be president, or "Vote for me to be the next manager of this corporation," and stuff like that. Or should cows on the farm live outside in a shed versus a mini house? You're saying like a public opinion to actually come up with a valid solution for a public policy is what I'm going to say. And 3, must have their own belief system that is following these policies in order to incorporate a policy, meaning coming together and sharing your own beliefs why this should be a policy or why this shouldn't be a policy and stuff like that. But yeah, number four, it have to be legal and feasible, meaning possible or practical to do to produce a good outcome for making this policy for the citizens of America. So it have to be legal. You cannot just come up with a policy that's illegal to favor a certain group, which can be done, but it shouldn't be done because it's not feasible, meaning it's not possible or something practical or something normal to do on a like higher thinking scale. But it should always produce a good outcome. Always produce a good outcome. As you see, I got the policy right here. Just showing you this policy. But a policy must be comprehensive rationality. It must have some type of comprehensive rationality. Like, it must be comprehensive. Example, it is an ideal type of policy making that translate values. So this policy making can transfer values, or if it's a bad policy, for example, it can transfer devalues. You see what I'm saying? So to transfer a policy, it must have some type of positive value to it. Once you transfer all the evidence and stuff like that they're trying to calculate on a policy making scale, understand? So it has to be consistent while making public policy choices, because once you translate the value, whether it's good or bad in the policy system, it's still a public policy choice that that group has made. So with that being said, if it translates to something positive, that means they made a consistent choice while making this public policy to have positive results from the choices made. In a small way to say it, basically. And number two, it must be bounded rationality. What's bounded rationality? It's a realistic model that identifies factors, situations, certain things that occur at the time of different policies that's already been made in corporations. So it's a realistic model that identifies factors such as uncertain aims and limited information. So these uncertain aims can be, why is this policy made? Is it made to construct the public, or is it made to destruct the public? Because when you come up with these realistic factors that identifies these factors such as uncertain aim, and you identifying what's kind of uncertain, it will have limited information. That's why I said public policy is not law, and law is not public policy. Public policy is not law. It can be difficult, complex, and messy to help identify. That's what I'm saying, to help identify key focus rather than just focusing on what's normally to focus on. If anything that's uncertain comes up with limited information, it can transfer to be messy, and it will not help to focus on the key points of what's being presented with evidence. So therefore, I'm just going to say that part. And if these functions are not bounded by evidence to a public gathering, there are no realistic intentions for good outcomes. So let me say this again. If these functions are not bounded by evidence from the public policy that was made to make sure that they gather the correct evidence to have a good outcome, if these functions are not bounded by evidence to a public gathering, there are no realistic intentions for good outcomes. So you have to be careful when it comes to understanding these policies versus trying to use the policies for their own advantage, even if it's a bad outcome. Because this will happen. See this guy right here? Gave him 1.5 out of 5 stars. That's pretty bad. So imagine going to a restaurant and you see it's 1.5 stars out of 5 stars that this person just gave this restaurant. Are you going to eat there? No, because you know it must have some policies in there that's being broke and doesn't have a good outcome. It has a bad outcome. So lesson for today is, I hope you understand public policy in a better way and how to approach the evidence in public policy while gathering to make sure it's a realistic result and not just a temporary result based on a policy that cannot back up its evidence. Evidence should always back up, I'm going to say, the policies that you know. If evidence is not it and it's just hearsay or just something you've seen and it's not backing up actual evidence to show it have a good outcome, I would not suggest you to partake in it. Like, would you partake in just saying eating pig every day for 20 years? No, you wouldn't, because you know what type of outcome it will have. So the policy is basically having a good policy to make sure it is acceptable on a wide range scale of citizens in America. So I hope y'all learned something, and tune in, subscribe. I'll drop more videos. Peace out.